Lecture 11. Understanding Grok's biases and limitations. So far, we have seen Grok do a lot. It writes, explains, entertains, and helps you organize your thinking. But today's lecture is about something just as important. What Grok can do well and where it might unintentionally mislead you. No AI is perfect. Every system has limitations, and Grok, despite its strengths, is no exception. If you are going to use it wisely, you need to understand how it works behind the scenes and where you should proceed with caution. In this lecture, we will talk about the blind spots and biases that Grok may carry. You will learn how AI tools like Grok are trained, what influences their answers, and why fact-checking and critical thinking are still your most valuable tools. By the end, you will be able to spot signs of bias, recognize misinformation, and ask better questions even when using AI. Objectives of the lecture. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to describe how Grok learns and what shapes its responses. Identify common types of bias or limitations in AI-generated answers. Use strategies to verify and cross-check information from Grok. Approach AI output with critical thinking rather than blind trust. Let's begin by asking the obvious. Why would an AI like Grok have bias at all? Isn't it just math? It is math, but it's math trained on human content, and that's where bias comes in. How Grok and other AIs learn. Grok is trained on massive amounts of data, public websites, books, articles, posts, and more. It uses this training to predict language patterns and give human-like answers. But here's the catch. The internet contains both good information and bad information. People online have different views, values, and cultures. Language models absorb it all without understanding right from wrong. So, when Grok answers a question, it's not thinking like a person. It's repeating patterns it has seen. Patterns that can include stereotypes, misinformation, or incomplete perspectives. Common biases in Grok's responses. Here are a few types of bias or limitation to watch out for. Cultural bias. If most of Grok's training data came from English-speaking countries, it may reflect Western norms and ideas more often than others. For example, when you ask, what makes a good leader? You may get an answer that emphasizes individualism rather than community, a cultural preference, not a universal truth. Gender or racial bias. Grok might reflect biased associations without meaning to it. For example, assuming certain professions or roles based on gender or race, if those patterns appeared often in the training data. Political or ideological bias. Since Grok draws from public conversations on X, it might reflect opinions that are highly polarized, especially around current events or political issues. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but it may lean one way based on who is most vocal online. Information gaps. Some topics, especially those that are highly specialized, new or behind paywalls, may be poorly covered in Grok's training data. You might get vague or outdated answers. Reminder: Grok is not hiding information. It just might not have seen enough of it to give a strong answer. Spotting and managing these limitations. So, how can you stay in control? Ask questions from different angles. If a response feels one-sided or too general, rephrase your prompt. For example, give me multiple perspectives on this issue. What are the criticisms of this viewpoint? What might someone from a non-Western culture say about this? Cross-check information. Always verify facts before using them in academic or public work. Use Google Scholar, news sources, academic journals, official websites. Even if Grok sounds confident, confidence doesn't equal correctness. Use critical thinking. Treat Grok's responses like you would treat a classmate's notes. Helpful, but not always accurate. Ask, does this make logical sense? Does this match what I have learned elsewhere? Could this reflect bias or a limited perspective? These questions keep you in charge of your own learning. Don't blame the bot. Stay accountable. It's easy to say, well, Grok told me to write it that way. But in school and in life, you are still responsible for what you choose to use or believe. Think of Grok as your assistant. It works with you, but you drive.